It took over 4.5 years of planning and fundraising for the Washington County Children's Justice Center to physically expand its services in St. George. The new 11,000 square foot building directly across the street from the current site, it gives a safe home-like environment both inside and out.
Children's Justice Centers started as a place, a soft, homey environment, child-friendly, where kids could come to be interviewed about things that had happened to them.
Currently, the Children's Justice Center serves around 400 primary victims and their families each year in Washington County. Part of the reason for this expansion was to be able to serve more youth on the mental health side.
We added a medical team, we added mental health, and we were making it work in the old building, but it was awkward. And so that's why the new building. The new building is really more about expanded services than it is about child abuse is exploding in our community. So this is where those parents can hang out, and sometimes siblings, while that therapy is happening in our therapy rooms.
This new facility includes room for full-time and contracted therapists to help support victims of child abuse.
Between 12 and 15 contracted therapists who usually work out of their own offices, but we would accommodate them here if that worked for them. This is our medical space, and it's completely self-contained, which was not the case in the other building. So it has its own private waiting space.
The new building also houses a medical and forensic gathering room.
So we can do anything here from take pictures of bruises all the way to rape kits for kids.
On the other side, therapists can help start the healing process.
They've already been interviewed. They've already had a medical if that's needed. So this is about healing. Mostly our therapy is paid for using Victims of Crime Act dollars. That's money, that's federal money that is paid in fines and penalties in federal cases. That's put into a pot of money for victims, and then we write for grants from it, and that's how we pay for parts of our victim advocacy and almost all of our therapy.
And many times, parents are involved in the therapy for a better outcome.
PCIT is a kind of therapy where actually it's the parent and the child who are together in the therapy room interacting, and the parent wears an earpiece, and the therapist is in an observation room like this one, watching through a one-way glass and cueing the parent in responses to their child. And it's been proven to be both therapeutic for the child and for the parent.
Professionals in all aspects of child abuse investigations work together as a team to help the victims.
We have a multidisciplinary team of between 60 and 70 professionals in Washington County who are the ones responsible for investigating and responding to child abuse allegations. And we meet together at least monthly and sometimes more often. And we do training, and we review cases, and we talk through what's going to be best for the child, what's going to be best for the family, and we haven't really had good space to do that in the past, and now we do. And everybody who's involved in that case, Child Protective Services, law enforcement, medical, mental health, prosecutors, our forensic interviewer, our victim advocates will get together and we'll talk about that case.
Utah is a mandatory reporting state, meaning if anyone suspects child abuse, they have the duty to report it.
If somebody believes that their child has been abused, they are required by law to report that, either to local law enforcement or to DCFS, the Division of Child and Family Services, and there's a number for reporting that. All adults in the state of Utah are mandatory reporters.
While the CJC receives a mix of federal, state, and private funding to support these efforts, they also do other fundraisers each year, like selling apples to offset costs.
Apples store pretty well. Split a box with your neighbors. It's a great price. 40 pounds for $60 is better than you're going to find in any grocery store, and they're great apples. They come out of Santaquin. And so we love that people support us with that fundraiser. I know people who bottle them, people who make apple pies. They're here in time for Thanksgiving for your pies and your Thanksgiving cooking.
Your support helps children who might not otherwise have a voice.
Having trustworthy adults, supportive adults is key in a child's life.
In Washington County, Melissa Anderson, Community Education News.